Operation Northwoods The U.S. Planned to kill its own citizens. Introduction. In the annals of history, few government documents have sparked as much controversy and debate as Operation Northwoods. This chilling plan, conceived during the Cold War era, reveals a dark chapter in American history where the United States government considered orchestrating false flag operations, acts of terrorism falsely attributed to external enemies, to justify military intervention against Cuba. What makes Operation Northwoods particularly shocking is that it included proposals to kill American citizens, framing these acts as the work of foreign adversaries. Decades after its declassification, the plan continues to haunt public discourse, raising profound questions about government transparency, ethics, and the lengths to which nations might go in the name of national security. Operation Northwoods was not just a theoretical exercise, it was a detailed proposal developed by high-ranking officials within the U.S. military and intelligence community. The plan was presented to President John F. Kennedy's administration in 1962, at the height of tensions between the United States and Cuba following the failed Bay of Pigs invasion. While the operation was ultimately rejected by Kennedy, its very existence has left an indelible mark on how we view the intersection of power, morality, and governance. This article delves into the origins, details, and implications of Operation Northwoods, examining why it remains relevant today and what it reveals about the darker impulses of statecraft. Historical context: the Cold War and Cuban tensions. To fully understand Operation Northwoods, one must first grasp the broader geopolitical landscape of the early 1960s. The Cold War had created a global atmosphere of paranoia and hostility between the United States and the Soviet Union, with both superpowers vying for dominance through proxy conflicts, espionage, and ideological battles. At the center of this struggle was Cuba, a small island nation that became a flashpoint after Fidel Castro's communist revolution in 1959. Castro's alignment with the Soviet Union posed a direct threat to U.S. interests in Latin America and the Caribbean, leading to escalating tensions. The failed Bay of Pigs invasion in April 1961 further exacerbated these hostilities. Backed by the CIA, the operation aimed to overthrow Castro but ended in disaster, humiliating the United States and strengthening Castro's grip on power. This failure left the Kennedy administration searching for alternative strategies to remove Castro from power while avoiding another public embarrassment. It was within this context that Operation Northwoods emerged, a desperate attempt to manufacture a justification for military action against Cuba. The Joint Chiefs of Staff (JCS), led by Chairman Lyman Lemnitzer, were instrumental in developing the plan. They believed that only a dramatic event, one that would galvanize public opinion and secure congressional support, could legitimize an invasion of Cuba. Thus, Operation Northwoods was born, offering a series of covert operations designed to create the illusion of Cuban aggression against the United States. These proposals ranged from staging attacks on U.S. soil to orchestrating incidents involving American citizens, all carefully crafted to deceive the public and provoke outrage. The details of Operation Northwoods, the specifics of Operation Northwoods, are both elaborate and horrifying. The plan outlined numerous scenarios, each more audacious than the last, all aimed at creating pretexts for war. One proposal involved the use of drone aircraft to simulate attacks on U.S. cities or military bases, making it appear as though Cuban forces had launched airstrikes. Another suggested sinking boats carrying Cuban refugees, blaming their deaths on Havana's regime. Perhaps most disturbingly, the plan included proposals to assassinate Americans and frame the killings on Cuban operatives. One particularly sinister idea involved blowing up a U.S. ship in Guantanamo Bay and blaming it on Cuban forces. This act, planners argued, would mirror the sinking of the USS Maine in 1898, an incident that had previously been used to justify the Spanish-American War. Similarly, there were plans to stage a terrorist attack in Miami or Washington, D.C., using explosives planted by U.S. operatives disguised as Cuban agents. The goal was to create a wave of panic and anger among the American populace, ensuring widespread demand for retaliation against Cuba. Equally troubling was the suggestion to hijack or shoot down civilian airliners, either real or simulated, and blame the tragedies on Castro's government. In some versions of the plan, drones resembling commercial planes would be destroyed over international waters, with passengers secretly evacuated beforehand. The wreckage would then be presented as evidence of Cuban aggression. These proposals highlight the extreme measures considered by those behind Operation Northwoods, demonstrating a willingness to sacrifice innocent lives for political gain. What makes these plans even more alarming is the level of detail provided in the documents. Each scenario came with step-by-step instructions, including logistical considerations, potential risks, and methods for covering up U.S. involvement. The planners clearly anticipated scrutiny and took pains to ensure that their actions could not easily be traced back to the American government. This meticulous attention to deception underscores the calculated nature of the operation and raises ethical questions about the moral boundaries of statecraft. Rejection and fallout. Despite the thoroughness of the proposals, Operation Northwoods was ultimately rejected by President John F. Kennedy and his advisors. Historians speculate that Kennedy's decision stemmed from a combination of factors, including his growing distrust of the military-industrial complex and his desire to avoid unnecessary escalation with the Soviet Union. Additionally, Kennedy may have recognized the immense risk such operations posed not only to innocent lives but also to the credibility of the United States on the world stage. The rejection of Operation Northwoods marked a turning point in Kennedy's presidency. It signaled a shift away from aggressive interventionism and toward diplomatic solutions, exemplified by his handling of the Cuban Missile Crisis later that year. However, the mere existence of the plan cast a long shadow over the administration, fueling conspiracy theories and skepticism about government motives. Critics accused the Joint Chiefs of Staff of overstepping ethical boundaries, while others questioned whether similar plans might have been implemented elsewhere without detection. For decades, Operation Northwoods remained classified, known only to a select few within the highest echelons of government. It wasn't until 1997, when the documents were declassified under the John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act, that the full scope of the plan came to light. The revelation shocked the public and reignited debates about government accountability and the potential for abuse of power. Journalists, historians, and activists seized upon the story, using it as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked authority. Implications and legacy. Operation Northwoods serves as a stark reminder of the ethical dilemmas inherent in national security policymaking. While the plan was never executed, its existence raises uncomfortable questions about the limits of state power and the potential for governments to prioritize strategic objectives over human life. Could such a plan be devised again in the future? And if so, what safeguards exist to prevent its implementation? The legacy of Operation Northwoods extends beyond the Cold War era. It has influenced contemporary discussions about surveillance, civil liberties, and the balance between security and freedom. In an age of heightened terrorism threats and technological advancements, the temptation to engage in deceptive tactics remains strong. Governments around the world continue to grapple with these issues, often walking a fine line between protecting their citizens and respecting their rights. Moreover, Operation Northwoods has become a touchstone for critics of U.S. foreign policy, cited as evidence of imperialist tendencies and a disregard for international law. For conspiracy theorists, the plan lends credence to suspicions of hidden agendas and covert operations, whether viewed as a historical anomaly or a symptom of systemic problems. Operation Northwoods challenges us to confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of power and the responsibilities of leadership. Conclusion. Operation Northwoods stands as a grim testament to the extremes to which governments may go in pursuit of their goals. While it represents a low point in American history, it also offers valuable lessons about the importance of oversight, transparency, and ethical conduct in governance. By examining this dark chapter, we can better understand the complexities of statecraft and the enduring need for vigilance in safeguarding democracy. As we move forward, let us remember the dangers of sacrificing morality for expediency and strive to build a world where such plans remain confined to the pages of history.